Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Rebuild Podcast. Basically, this is going to be a chill podcast, guys, where I talk about different things going on in the NBA. I'm going to talk at a very normal, casual pace, guys. Basically, this is for guys out there that are, big-time NBA fans that just want to listen to me speak some more about it, get your questions out there. And, there's not going to be, any specific time limit for these videos. Just really chill, relax, man. So, maybe go run on the treadmill or something like that, or just chill out, and just listen to the podcast. Maybe play some, Fortnite, whatever the kids are doing these days. And we're going to talk some basketball. So I got some different topics. We got some Game 7s coming up here. Now I'm making this podcast at the day of the Boston Celtics Cavaliers game. So by the time you're watching this, the predictions of that might have actually already happened. So yeah, we're going to talk about those Game 7s. Also, the point of this podcast, man, it's called the Rebuild Podcast, is we are going to be talking about, some different things that NBA teams could do this offseason to improve their teams and things like that. So our first topics is going to be the Game 7 predictions, and then we are going to talk about, each individual team, the Boston Celtics, Cavaliers, Houston Rockets, and Golden State Warriors. And if they lose those Game 7s, what direction they should take their team in. Then after that, I did post over on the community tab of my YouTube channel, asking you guys, to give me some different questions out there that you were kind of wondering about what certain NBA teams should do. So we got a few of those to go through. So yeah, man, should be a pretty good time right here. So I guess let's talk about the Celtics and Cavaliers game, guys. Like I was saying, man, this game might have already happened, and so everything I say here might just be totally wrong at what actually happened. But I will say, man, between the Cleveland Cavaliers and Boston Celtics, first and foremost, I got to say that it's big time that Kevin Love did get injured. I mean, Kevin Love was, I believe, leading the NBA in rebounds for the playoffs right here, and it's yeah, he's struggled at times, but at the same time, man, let me pull up the Game 1 stats here for him. Game 1 of the series, he did drop 17 points, 8 rebounds, so he was pretty big right there. Game 2, 22 and 15, so, I mean, as far as the Eastern Conference Finals go, he's been a pretty big piece. Game 3, we have him at, what do we got here, man? I got to pull up my end right here. He played, Game 3, 13 points, 14 rebounds. So, I mean, he's been a little streaky on the offensive side of things, but the rebounding is the big time thing. Plus, he had 4 assists that game. Game 4, we're looking at Kevin Love with 9 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 turnovers, though. And then Game 5, we got him at 14 points and 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. And we all know Game 6 is when he went down with things, where he only played about 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, though, man, he did grab 4 rebounds. So I'm just saying that real quick. So, of course, his replacement, I believe, is going to be Jeff Green, who is going to be starting. So, in Game 6, he dropped 14 points. So, good for him right there, man. I mean, Jeff Green is a veteran out there. So, yeah, you're losing out on Kevin Love. You're losing out on the rebounding him. But I really do think that Jeff Green and Larry Nance should hopefully step up for, their team out there and everything. But going into Game 7, I will say, I don't bet against LeBron James. How many straight NBA Finals has he made it to? I still have the Cavaliers. I have, LeBron James going off for one of his crazy 50-point games or something like that. So, yeah, that's definitely my prediction for them, man. So let's talk about, if the Cleveland Cavaliers were to lose this game, man, what direction exactly do they go into? Well, looking at their player contracts, I'm going to pull up my end right here real quick. LeBron James, of course, has a player option with about $35 million. Now, he's probably going to be gone if this team does lose. So then all of a sudden you got to decide, well, Kevin Love will be on a 2-year deal at that point worth about $50 million. Do you trade him away? Probably, because at that point, Kevin Love is going to be 29, 30. He's injury prone. I still think that you could get something for him because there are going to be NBA, contending teams out there that would love the services of Kevin Love. I mean, there's quite a few teams you could definitely, fit out there that Kevin Love makes sense. I'll say one, probably the Portland Trailblazers. I would love him to go out there, team up with Damian Lillard. You got George Hill on a 2-year deal, about $40 million with the being a team option on the 2nd-year deal right there. So him, it's like you hold on him probably for 1 season. That's all fine. Tristan Thompson, 2-year deal. Although Tristan Thompson's been playing some pretty decent basketball out there. The thing that is, though, is about that Lakers trade that they made, bringing in Jordan Clarkson and bringing in Larry Nance. Those players are both very young, so there definitely could be some nice pieces out there that, I don't know, could be part of their future plans, going forward. You got Rodney Hood, who is definitely, I don't really know what Rodney Hood is doing right now. I don't know if it's so much just like a confidence thing. He's averaged about 6 points per game in the playoffs and just fell off, man. I thought he was gonna be like a 19-point per game scorer, but definitely not looking like that. Definitely not really shining in the moment. So, do you keep him around because his contract's up after this season? So, it's like, do you give him that $15 to $18 million a season that he's probably going to wind out there? Not really sure. They also have I believe the 8th pick in the draft, so you can use that out there and kind of get that player to help this team step in the right direction. But plain and simple, for the Cleveland Cavaliers, outside of LeBron James, it's like, it's typically not going to be a free agent destination, so it's definitely going to have to be a team that is going to be rebuilding via the NBA draft. We'll see how that goes for them. Let's move on, guys, over to the Boston Celtics. If the Boston Celtics are to lose this game, this is where it gets kind of interesting, because do the Celtics just kind of stay the course of things? I mean, because you will be having Gordon Hayward come back next season and Kyrie Irving. But then it's like you got Jason Tatum, who I think should be a starter. You got him on the team right there still too, man. So it's like, will Jason Tatum go to the power forward position? Will they decide to bring him off the bench? I really hope they don't do that, because Jason Tatum is proving to be a starting player in the NBA. So it's like, do they just stay the course of things, come back with the starters and go from there? Or do they trade some of the young pieces? Do you trade the Jason Tatum or the Jaylen Brown for another big name player to go on this team? I know a lot of people are talking about Anthony Davis. I'm sure there's a lot of other players that could definitely fill that void. So it's like, do you play Jason Tatum out of position and just go with that? I honestly will say it's such a tough choice. Because you bring Gordon Hayward back, you at least let him play until the All-Star break, and you see how things are going. And then at that point, it's like, all right, well, we all know what we're going to get out of the 20-year-old Jason Tatum, 20 points per game. It's like, Gordon Hayward's on the block. Who wants to give us a nice, big-time power forward or center like that to team up with Al Horford? So I think the team definitely should stay the course and see how things work out there. Now, if by the All-Star break you decide you're committed to Gordon Hayward, or you decide you want to commit to Jason Tatum, I feel like one of those guys you put on the trade block, because both is going to warrant, a big-time player coming back. So just my thoughts on that. Plus, you also got Terry Rozier. Rozier, I think he's still got another year on his contract with this man, worth about $3 million. So he looks like he could be a starting caliber point guard. I mean, honestly speaking, you package of Terry Rozier and Jason Tatum, or Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward, that's going to be able to get you a lot of talent here in the NBA. So, because there's something called too much of a good thing in this case. So if you're able to fill out some voids and, maybe, just get that next all-star player as a result of trading some of these young bloods away, it's definitely something to consider. I don't think it's absolutely needed. I think Brad Stevens, being one of the smartest coaches in the NBA, will definitely figure things out. So I'm kind of okay with that. It's one of the two directions right there. Okay, now let's move on to the Game 7 predictions of the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors, man. I will say, people said that Game 6 was rigged. Give me your guys' thoughts on that in the comment section below. Game 6, Klay Thompson did go off for 35 points and 6 rebounds and 4 steals. He did go 9 for 14 from 3. He was on a freaking scoring clinic out there. Stephen Curry dropped, 29 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. So, yeah, the Splash Bros were definitely doing some nice things out there. Kevin Durant dropped 23 points, shot a streaky 6 for 17. He did make it to the free throw line 14 times, though. So, looking at the team comparisons of that game, this is where it's kind of like, I understand being on the wrong side of a loss and just being like, yo, man, the referees gypped us and stuff like that. Been there, done that, man. I'll say so straight up, I understand the concern right there. But the free throws was Warriors 19, Rockets 17. So you can't really just draw that up to that, man. You got to pretty much say that Klay Thompson just happened to go off on the team right there. Sounds like Chris Paul is potentially going to be out for that Game 7. They said that it's a better chance that he doesn't play than he does play. I really do hope that he somehow makes it back. But with that being said, if he's not fully healthy, you don't want him to play, because, Stephen Curry is already a handful when you're completely healthy. Can you imagine Stephen Curry, when you got a freaking torn up bitch-ass leg thing going on? It's just not going to work out. So I understand where it's like you want to be safe right there. So now, who do I got winning, though, man? I want the Houston Rockets to win because I'm ready for a different NBA Finals. But it's hard to bet up against the Golden State Warriors, guys. It's really hard to bet against the Golden State Warriors. I believe that the game is at Houston, though, so that's definitely going to help the Houston Rockets out there a lot. But it's just, once again, man, until I see the Warriors super team get dethroned, it's going to be hard to bet against them. So let's talk about, man, the Houston Rockets. If they actually lose this game, what direction they go with their team? Well, I think you bring back Chris Paul. I think you bring back James Harden. Of course you bring back James Harden. He's going to be freaking MVP, right? But then you got some decisions to be made out there. It's like, do you want to try to bring in another big-time scoring piece out there? I'm going to bring up the contracts real quick here on my end just so I can see what they're looking like. The big choice is Clint Capella. Clint Capella is only 24. On the NBA season, he put up about, 14 points, 11 rebounds per game. Per the playoffs so far, 11 points, 12 rebounds. So, also blocking about 1-2 shots a game out there too. So, the man's only 24, but you got to say, is that because of him playing with Chris Paul and James Harden? Like, could other guys be brought onto this team that could do exactly what Clint Capella is doing it for a lot cheaper. And then all of a sudden you have the money to bring in the big name, small forward or maybe power forward on this team to team up with James Harden and Chris Paul. People talked about LeBron James. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, it definitely could happen, but I don't see it happening. Maybe do some sort of trade for Carmelo Anthony, although for chemistry reasons, I don't think I would go that far with things. And there's a lot of other good options out there, too, for the small forward position. Even P.J. Tucker, though, and Trevor Ariza, it's like those guys have been playing phenomenal defense. And P.J. Tucker, he's only making about $7-8 million a season, so I think for now he'll be okay. I guess he is 33, though, so that's getting kind of up there in age. Same with Trevor Ariza. Personally speaking, if this team loses to the Golden State Warriors, I don't think you blow it up too much. You just got to chalk it up to the damn Warriors are one hell of a team. They're a super team, so there's only so much you can do, guys. Clint Capella is a guy that, you sign if things don't work out. There will be plenty of teams that are interested with him. I don't really know what piece you bring out of this Houston Rockets team unless you go the route of maybe trying to build the super team. Maybe do a sign trade for Capella for Kawhi Leonard if the Spurs would be willing to listen to something like that. I mean, you have to toss in a few other options out there, but it just comes down to the Warriors win that you need a super team to beat them, man. Plain and simple. So, yeah. Now we talk about the Golden State Warriors. If this team loses, then what do you do exactly? I mean, I think you try to keep your core intact of Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, because it's like that team, they're all under 30. Stephen Curry's actually going to be 31 going into next season, but the way he plays basketball, it's like he's going to be good till he's 40. So age definitely is not a concern yet. I will say, though, man, the bench unit is something you got to think about. Iguodala, they give him like a 3 or 4 year, I think they give him like a 3-year, $48 million contract. He's proven to not really be much anymore. For the 2018 NBA season, he put up 6 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3-point shot, only shot 20% from there. Playoffs, put about 8 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. So he's doing a little bit better in the playoffs, shooting 40% from 3. But overall, it's like, the bench is something that they've got to work on. So you could think of the direction of maybe trading away Klay Thompson and getting some different pieces back for him. It's like, what do you think Klay Thompson is worth? I think you would definitely get some really nice pieces. Just if this team is looking to go in a different direction. I like about Klay Thompson, though, is he kind of thrives being the third option of this team. I mean, he still put up 20 points per game out there. He still has those games where he goes absolutely crazy offensively. Damn, dude, this playoffs, he is shooting 49% from 3, averaging about 21 points. So are you going to be able to find the same value back for Klay Thompson, a guy that's going to be willing to be that third option on a team but still give you the efficiency that he does? I really don't think you are going to be able to do that unless maybe, interesting route would be, this would actually be kind of cool. Sign and trade for DeMarcus Cousins, maybe all of a sudden the Pelicans, they get their star shooting guard to team up with Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis and Klay Thompson. I would absolutely love to see that team. And then the Golden State Warriors, they fix a big time void on their team with getting DeMarcus Cousins. That's kind of be an issue for them, right? Is that they sometimes they kind of lag down low, and at the same time it does work out for them too, though, because they do run a small ball type of lineup. So I don't know. I feel like DeMarcus Cousins, Draymond Green, that would be a pretty interesting front court. They would have the best point guard in the NBA in Stephen Curry. Some people might say Russell Westbrook. I totally understand that argument. They would have the best small forward in Kevin Durant. They would have the best defensive power forward in Draymond Green, although he did not make all defensive team, I don't think, did he? Which is just a total snub right there, because every year he's one of the best. And they would have the best center in the NBA in a DeMarcus Cousins. Then what you do is, you got them, because you're going to have to pay DeMarcus Cousins. So you're not really saving money doing that. You're just kind of switching up the dynamic and the makeup of your team. But still, you go out there and you sign maybe a J.J. Redick type of player, because he's going to be a free agent off the Philadelphia 76ers this season. And he would bring the three-point shooting, the catch-and-shoot ability that Klay Thompson can do out there, right, man? I mean, of course, you probably say that J.J. Redick is Klay Thompson without the defense. So if you're willing to give that up right there, then, but that freaking backcourt of Curry and J.J., that Redick, that team's going to get cooked out there, man, defensively. So just saying, take a quick sip of my water right here. It's a podcast, so I can do that, right? Here we go. Delicious. So regardless, you get to the Eastern Conference Finals, the Western Conference Finals. That's a big achievement. Now you get to the NBA Finals, that's a bigger achievement. Now you win the NBA Finals, and you don't really make any changes at all, right? Unless you're the Golden State Warriors and you sign Kevin Durant. Although I think they did that after losing, right? So I guess you got to give them the benefit of the doubt right there. Regardless, Cavaliers, if they lose, LeBron James is probably gone. If they win, LeBron James might still be gone. Boston Celtics, they're somehow defying the law of physics out there with just doing all these amazing things despite losing their two best players. The Golden State Warriors, they're a super team. Houston Rockets, they're one hell of a team too, guys. I don't think there's a lot of changes to make out there, maybe just some minor changes here and there. But all right, we're about 15 minutes into this right here, and we talked about the Game 7s both ways. So I think we're going to go ahead and maybe just go to a few random, questions from the subscribers right here, and then we'll probably call it an end right there. I'm going to keep this kind of on the shorter side just because I'm still kind of getting a feel if this is something people actually want out there. So here we go, man. Just a few random, different questions going on in the NBA right now. Some different topics. We have a question from the K-Dog brand saying, what are your thoughts on the Detroit Pistons trying to get Dwayne Casey as head coach? I love it. Because the thing is that Dwayne Casey going to get coach of the year, right? Or at least up there coach of the year. I don't remember, did he actually win it or not? I don't actually remember. I think he did win it, but he got fired, which is just kind of awkward, right? Losing to LeBron James, my Detroit Pistons did that back in 2008. LeBron James is just a very tough player to beat. Nobody does it very often. So the fact that Dwayne Casey coached this team, not to mention the Toronto Raptors, not exactly calling out to be the biggest free agent destination. He built that, he helped build that team out there, and he got them to be first place in the Eastern Conference. If you're not winning out there, if you can win the regular season, that's still pretty damn impressive. So I love the idea of that. I feel like he would bring the right pieces on this team. I feel like he's the right piece to go out there and coach Andre Drummond, and I feel like players respect him. So I definitely love the idea of that. I would much rather bring in a veteran coach than I would, a young blood out there, a guy like Jerry Stackhouse that doesn't really have experience. I'm sick of that, man. I want my Pistons to get out there and get a veteran. Although, with that being said, Stan Van Gundy, the issue with Stan Van Gundy is he tried to build a type of offense that is just kind of outdated, so it's just like what he was doing out there. He was trying to build around the big name center, like he did with Dwight Howard, and that's just not how basketball is played anymore, man. It's more of a guard-oriented league. Or, again, the superstar small forward. Definitely both positions the Pistons like. They liked guards, and they liked small forwards out there. I mean, Stanley Johnson is a bitch ass, right? So, yeah, I like the idea of Dwayne Casey as coach. Getting a coach of the year candidate is a lot better than just getting a young blood out there that's nobody's doing quite yet. So I'm definitely all for that. Next up, we have a big question here from SG Finest McMiner. He says, what could the New York Knicks do? Should they trade injury-prone Porzingis? Should they move on and rebuild the team? Are they headed in the right direction with Fizdale? What do the Knicks realistically do to make them an upper playoff caliber team? Well, I feel like Fizdale was a step in the right direction because, he had that Memphis Grizzlies team playing some good basketball. And the only reason that team started falling off and is, getting that top 4 draft pick is because they had injuries to their star players. Like, Mike Conley went down. I believe Marc Gasol was injured at some point, too. So it's like that team is still pretty damn nice out there. So, yeah, that's a big sign right there. Porzingis is injury-prone, and which is kind of a slippery slope. It's like, do you just hope they're just kind of fluke injuries and not something that's going to affect them long term? I will say it's a bit scary, though, because he is 7'3". You look at other guys that are around that height, that got, foot injuries and stuff like that. Yao Ming. Yeah, he was an all-star caliber player. He made the all-star team many years, but his career was cut short due to that. Just like these tall players, they have a tough time recovering back to that. So you decide, do you want a few years of potentially great Porzingis, or do you want to trade him for some assets that can be there for the long-term of things? I mean, you think of it this way. Would you trade Porzingis for the first pick in the draft, which would probably be DeAndre Ayton, and have that next great big guy on your team? But if you knew DeAndre Ayton was going to be healthy for the next 10, 15 years, I don't think you trade Porzingis yet. I think you bring him back. I think you let Fizdale do his thing out there and just kind of see what other pieces you can put around him. Phil Jackson screwed this team up, and that's what Knicks fans have to realize, is that Phil Jackson set this team back. He gave a lot of players just horrible contracts out there. He didn't always draft the greatest. Tim Hardaway's getting $20+ million a season or something like that to be an okay shooting guard. It's like, when you start having that top-notch money like that, you want guys out there that can help win championships. Tim Hardaway can be a piece on a championship team. He can't be the piece. He can't be your damn highest-paid player out there. Courtney Lee's got a bitch-ass contract. I mean, it's not that bad in comparison to some other contracts out there, but he's another player that's getting up there in age, and it's starting to get to the point where the money he's making each season is not worth it as much because he falls off a little bit more each and each season. Who else we got there? Frank Ntilikina, I think he's a nice piece, but he's somebody we're going to have to wait on. That's 3-4 seasons down the road. They also have, I forgot, the 9th pick in the draft or something like that. I know people were talking about Trae Young. Trae Young it's just a lot of question marks because you don't really know how the rookie's going to end up. I like Trae Young if he could be the next Stephen Curry. I think he's exactly what the New York Knicks need. He's exciting and everything like that. But realistically speaking, do I trade Porzingis? Probably not yet. I see what Fizdale can do. New York is going to be a big, free agent destination. A lot of players want to play there, man. So it's just a matter of having the right guy as the owner out there, being able to talk to the players and convince them that they have a plan going forward. I mean, wouldn't you want to be the all-star player or the superstar player that brought a championship to the New York Knicks? I know I would be, man. That would just be so much for anybody's legacy out there. It's just a matter of who's available. But as of right now, they got some contracts they got to get rid of, or at least play out. And they don't have a ton of assets to trade for a guy like a Kawhi Leonard or something like that, despite him wanting to go on that team. So really, your only hope is to trade away some of these loaded up contracts, got to get some cap space going, make sure you draft the right players out there, and try to get the money out there, man, the budget to sign a big name free agent, because trade assets not really looking all that great right now. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, we have a question from Brandon Hewigin saying, can Devin Booker be the lead dog on a championship team? Man. When I think of Devin Booker, I know a lot of people like to compare to Kobe Bryant and stuff. I feel like if he could really pick up his defense, he could be like a Klay Thompson type of impact player. I actually just did a video about Klay Thompson being able to lead a team to a championship, and I think it definitely depends on the talent around him, because he can't be the only man on the team. There's got to be guys out there that are at least close to his skill set, or definitely complement it. Like the Miami Heat, I feel it would be a perfect team for him to go to, because yes, he would be the best player on that team. But there's plenty of other guys out there like Josh Richardson, Hassan Whiteside, Goran Dragic, where it's these are still some really hell good players on the team right there. So could he lead a team like the Atlanta Hawks? No. Could he lead a team like right now the Phoenix Suns? No. But you put him in the right scenario, surrounded by the right players, and I think down the road he could be. Not yet. He's only 22. So I think by the time he really hits that prime of 27, 28 years of age, depending on the roster around him, he definitely could do it. But even now in the NBA, it's players don't typically win championships by themselves, so he would still need that all-star caliber player on his team. He would still need either that big name point guard, someone maybe like a Damian Lillard would be kind of cool to watch, maybe a nice center on their team. So I think he could do it, but he would need the right pieces around him for it to actually happen. Okay, we have a question from Demo2XX. He says, my thing about the NBA is there are certain franchises who just absolutely suck and have been sucking for decades. Is there any changes you think can be made besides owner and GM firing? Let me tell you guys straight up, okay? I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I'm going to talk a little football here for a second. I'm a Detroit Lions fan. The reason we suck so much is because we do not have an owner or GM committed for this franchise winning out here. It comes down to it. If your owner and GM are not committed to your winning, if they care just about, selling tickets, or just care about the finances, chances are you're not going to really do much out there. Thing is, though, is that in a lot of cases, success leads to money, right? So it's you would think that a lot of these cases that your owner would want to spend the money out there to bring in the talent, because that sells tickets and it all comes down to revenue and everything like that. So, but when it comes to the NBA too, some of these teams, I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head that's just absolutely trash and has been trashed for a long time. Because I feel like for the most part, every NBA team in the last decade or so has had some sort of a success. But yeah, some of it just comes down to the destination. Some man being a Detroit Pistons fan, not a lot of people want to play in Detroit. People give Detroit a bad name. There actually is a lot of nice areas out there. And for a long time, they play at the Palace of Auburn Hills, which Auburn Hills is a very nice location, a lot of beautiful property and stuff like that. But I mean, teams want to play for the Lakers, or they want to play for the Miami Heat. They want to play in the big market teams like that. So a lot of it just comes down to that, and how your owner is committed to drafting the right players, getting the right coach out there. Sometimes you just get bad luck when it comes to injuries, or you get bad luck just where certain players, you sign them to this big contract and all they care about is their money, and they don't do anything. They just get their money and they're just done playing, Sometimes it comes down to getting that first, second, third overall pick in the draft, and the player you happen to get was the draft bust. So I think there's a bit of luck to it. Outside of owner and GM firing, man, it's just all about luck. And it does come down to the coach and the owner and all the GM and everything like that, because they are the ones that make the decisions out there. So you just want to go out there, get the best scouting team, and get the best players you can, and that's really the best you can do. If you have bad luck or just karma's not on your side, it is what it is, right? Okay, so we're going to finish off with this last question right here before I get into my extra crispy segment right here, where I'm going to talk about maybe some random stuff. I don't really have anything in my mind, but I'll think of something. Okay, so what do you think the Suns should do with their first pick in the draft? I think you go with DeAndre Ayton, man. I think DeAndre Ayton is going to be the best player in this draft. I think there's a lot of other really good potential players in this draft, but I think DeAndre Ayton is definitely a sure thing out there. The idea of Luka Doncic on this team is like, yeah, he could be really good, but him and Devin Booker in the backcourt together, just too slow for me. Just too slow, and DeAndre Ayton, I feel like is the direction you go with. Then you go out there and you try to sign a veteran point guard. As far as point guards available, I mean, free agency, I know like Chris Paul is available. You're not going to get Chris Paul or anything like that. It's actually kind of a weaker point guard kind of class out there when it comes to the free agents. So, I don't think you do that quite yet. It definitely is going to be a process. Maybe, go 2-3 seasons and you still kind of lose out there and you get some more lottery picks and try to build those around, Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. Love the idea of maybe making a trade for Terry Rozier. But I think for sure you definitely take DeAndre Ayton. So, okay. Besides for that, do I have any extra crispy content to talk about? I've not really been up to too much lately, man. I got my girlfriend watching Lord of the Rings right now, and she fell asleep, so that's why I'm doing this podcast right now. Besides for that, though, just kind of been playing some basketball lately, doing things like that. I watched 13 Reasons Why. I kind of talked about it on a different video right there. I watched both seasons because my girlfriend had me watch the first season, and, you all know what's about me. I'm not talk too much about it because YouTube, you can't really talk about that kind of stuff. But I will say, this is going to be spoiler-free, by the way. I watched the second season. In like the last episode, there was this scene where this kid gets a very, very just disturbing act happening to him. If you guys saw it, oh my god, guys, like it had me feeling like queasy for like 2 or 3 days after watching. It's absolutely horrible, man. So yeah, I watched that. What else, man? I know the new Solo movie came out, Star Wars. I haven't actually not seen the last 2 Star Wars movies. I don't know. It's not that I dislike Star Wars. I'm not really feeling this new like era of it, I guess. Like I have nothing against it. Maybe that type of sci-fi not really doing it for me, Saw Deadpool 2 recently. That was pretty solid. It was a solid movie. It's a movie I'll never watch again. It was just one where it's like, hey, you know what? I enjoyed that. Mainly because the reason I like Deadpool, by the way, no spoilers for this, is just because like it's not so much Deadpool I like, but growing up I loved X-Men. I remember I used to be at my grandma's house. And I would watch every single morning, X-Men would come on. Then one day, it was not on, and they played this one show. That show turned out to be Pokemon. I was like, what is this bitch-ass Pokemon? What is this Pokemon stuff? And then, of course, I ended up loving it like every other, dude out there and girl out there do man. I just absolutely loved it. So, yeah. But that's why I really like the Deadpool movies is because, like Cable, I knew exactly who that was. I used to play this X-Men game with my stepdad, and it was like a fighting game, and I would always use Cable because he had this cheese-ass gun move out there, man. It was so much fun. So just seeing those characters, Colossus, a few other X-Men out there that I don't really want to say because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. But yeah, just seeing those characters is what I love the most about Deadpool. Also saw the Avengers, when that came out. I saw that a few weeks ago. And I will say, once again, I don't want to spoil anything. Maybe I'll have like some spoiler like things going forward, but for this, since I didn't really talk about it in the beginning, but yeah, the end scene, you guys, if you didn't see Avengers, you're never gonna see it all, man. But yeah, the end scene was not really too affected by that because I know there's gonna be a second Avengers movie, and I know that they are probably going to be like safe and everything, especially because a lot of these movies are already like contracted for sequels. So I did not really feel too much about the Avengers. I kind of have to see how they handle the second movie. Or the second, the part 2 before I have a big opinion on part 1. Because that's really what's going to come to, man. Like, if they undo everything in Avengers, like, part 2, then it's just, at that point, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, the first movie, nothing happened. Like, the first movie was not needed. It was just like, I don't know. Because what I think is going to happen, as I think, that, of course, it's going to do the whole thing with the time stone. They're going to go back in time and undo everything. I don't think everybody's going to come back. But I think it's going to come down to, like, the original Avengers team is going to be the one to save everybody. But I think that one girl, Nebula, I think that's Thanos' daughter. I think she is going to be the one that's going to bring Thanos down. I think it's going to be like a big character arc for her. So that's going to be kind of cool to see and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I thought it was a decent movie and everything like that. So besides for that, just been working on the YouTube channel as of late. As of right now, man, like this past month has been my best month successful on YouTube from a view and not subscriber standpoint. Like 2 years ago, I got like 13,000 subscribers in 1 month. That was my most successful month ever subscriber wise. View wise though, I'm doing my best of all time. So thank you all so much for that. But yeah, we are coming up at about half an hour here for the podcast. Hope you guys all enjoyed this. Like I said, man, I could talk about so much stuff all the time. So thank you all so much for watching. If this is something you want in the future, be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and peace out, my friends.